What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year. We are finally into 2024, saying goodbye to 2023. I have a feeling that this year is going to be pretty good for all of us. So, what you just saw me doing is another exercise that I give all my students, and it is a paradiddle going into a double paradiddle. And basically, with that one, you're still working off the basis of quarter notes. Each hand is playing a quarter note. I thought about putting this one up because my last video where I was working with paradiddles and triplets did pretty well, and so I figured I'd give this one. It's again working through subdivisions, and subdivisions is the one thing that I noticed that give most of my students a hard time. Understanding a triplet or 16th notes or 8th notes, and definitely understanding 16th note triplets. This is something that I came up with that one is pretty fun. It's great to play on the kit, and it really works your hands out. There is no goal tempo. I'm going to be working between 60 and 80 for the purposes of the video, but there's no real goal. It's how fast do you want to play the exercise. And to really start out, you really need to set your tempo at whatever your fastest tempo is that you can play a double paradiddle. Double paradiddles can be played as 16th notes, 8th notes, or 16th note triplets. In this exercise, they're going to be 16th note triplets. So now, you're asking yourself, what is a 16th note triplet? Well, a 16th note triplet is to triplets, 8th note triplets, as 16th notes are to 8th notes. So if you're playing quarters, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you were to go to double-handed or alternating hand 8th notes, now your right hand, if your right hand lead, if your left hand lead, your left hand will be doing it. Your right hand will now go to the quarter notes. So if you're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you keep that going into 16th notes, your right hand will now play the 8th notes. So you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So to really get a good grasp on this, when you go to the 8th notes, you can notice move your left hand or your right hand off. Got to keep my iPad on over here. Move one of your hands off of the pad and you'll be able to notice what one hand is doing. So in the 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 16ths, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So as you notice, your lead goes to your right hand and it plays most of the main notes. So when you're playing triplets, 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta, you alternate your hands. Each hand gets a quarter note. Triplet, 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 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta. So going from triplets, 8th note triplets, which is what I just played, to 16th note triplets, now your hands will go into that 8th note pattern, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and triplet, 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 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta, 1 ta ta, and ta ta, 2 ta ta, and ta ta, 3 ta ta, and ta ta, 4 ta ta, and ta ta, 1. Hopefully you followed all that with all the ta-tas. When I count triplets, I use T-T. Generally, it's a little easier to say at tempo, at faster tempos, than it is to say triplet, 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 or 1 triplet, 2 triplet, the other ways of counting. There are some that use 1 and a, 1 and a, 1 and a, 1 and a, 2 and a, 2 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, that kind of thing. I don't. I find it easier just to go 1 to the, and to the, 2 to the, and to the, 3 to the, and to the, 4 to the, and to the. And eventually, you'll just feel how it's supposed to go. So, getting to the paradiddle and double paradiddle, going through 16th notes, and 16th note triplets, you'll play 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 to the and to 2 to the and to 3 to the and to 4 to the and to. So let's start working at 60 beats a minute. We're just going to start with the accents. Quarter note accent. Now eighth notes. As you notice, my right hand has locked in with the quarter note when it goes to the two-hand eighth notes. So as you play your paradiddles, you will end up going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 to and to 2 to and to 3 to and to 4 to and to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 to and to 2 to and to 3 to and to 4 to and to 1. Hopefully everybody got that. Now, at 60 beats a minute, let's actually try the rudiments. Now hopefully you noticed that the hands basically stayed on the quarter note. When you go to your paradiddle, and then you go to, and that's your hand movement, keeping a quarter note accent. So playing the quarter note accent hand to hand like that, get your hands used to the motion of quarter notes while the stick speed is playing faster. So now I got to consort with my notes. So now the first thing we're going to do is what we did, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to play it again. That was at 60. Let's bump this up to 70. So now get used to that. Get your hands used to that tempo. After you get used to it, play your rudiments. That was 70. So now let's bump this up to 80. And let me stress this, there is no real goal tempo. The goal tempo is however fast you want to get it to. But to start out, I'm going to re-emphasize this, you really need to know how fast can you play 16th note triplet version of your double paradiddles. And you want to be sure that they're clean. So if I'm here at 80, I need to be sure I can actually play them faster than that. 3, 4. So I've got my double paradiddles at 80, so let's try it again. 2, ready, and paradiddle, 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 double paradiddle, double paradiddle, double paradiddle, double paradiddle. It is good to sometimes say what it is that you're playing. Paradiddle, 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 double paradiddle, double paradiddle, double paradiddle, double paradiddle, pop. That way you can kind of hear with your voice what everything's supposed to sound like. So let's try that again. All right. Oop. Let's try 100. So again, paradiddle, 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 double paradiddle, double paradiddle, double paradiddle, double paradiddle. And that is the double paradiddle and paradiddle hand exercise, working on 16th notes and 16th note triplets. One thing that's kind of fun with those, as you're keeping in that quarter note pulse, just like with the paradiddle triplet, and I will have a card somewhere up in a corner at some point linking back to the paradiddle triplet. But anyway, jumping back and forth between them at any part of the beat. So let's go, I'm going to do paradiddles and then double paradiddles, 4 beats apiece, and then I'm going to mix them up a little bit. Now, as you notice, I did a lot with my left hand because you do want to work your left hand out. If you're a right-handed drummer, your left hand's weak. Left-handed drummers, your right hand's weak. So, great exercise, fun exercise. It lets you work between 16th notes and 16th note triplets. It gets your brain thinking and gets you able to say fast at 100 beats a minute, paradiddle and double paradiddle. But again, before you start working on this and trying to increase your speed, see how fast you can play your double paradiddles, because stick speed versus your hand speed is going to be faster than the paradiddles. And don't ever start at your top speed. You always want to start slower and then build up. Even if it takes a couple of weeks or even a month to build your speed, say your top speed is at 80, but you want to make it to 100. Never start at 80 because your hands will get wore out before you ever make it to your goal tempo. So what I tell my students is you start at a slower tempo. Start at 60, do that for a minute, then go up to 65, go up to 70, go up to 75. You can also use all the tempos on the metronome, 71, 72, 73. Jump between those. You never know what tempo you're going to have to play these at, whether it is something like a Will Coxon solo or any sort of snare solo, or on a drum set. You don't know what tempo you're going to be playing at. So keep working with it, have fun with it. I also want to say I want to thank all the new subscribers I have gotten in the last few weeks since kind of making public a lot of my videos. If you haven't seen them, I have a lot of technique stuff, the rudiments that I put up for all my students that I had on my website. So my students could go in, after we worked on a rudiment, they could go in and have a refresher on it. But anyway, thank you to everybody that has subscribed. Thank you for all the comments, the like buttons. As everybody says, subscribe, hit that like button. Please comment. I try to answer all comments as fast as possible. I really like interacting, and it lets me know what you guys like as far as content. I'm kind of new to it. Yeah, I have the YouTube channel, but I haven't really done a whole lot with it. I normally just use it as a tool to say, hey, here's something that you can work on to all my students. If I give something in the lesson, I tell them to go to my YouTube channel, but I plan on doing better with that. So please hit the like, hit the subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. And until the next video, happy drumming.